Ever wonder if it makes a difference if you stay faithful to what God's called you to do? People will watch you. People are watching, and especially those that know you're a Christian, they watch. And so it does make a difference if you stay faithful to the things that God's called us to do. Middle of the road. You know, see if I can get my clicker here to work. No, that's not going to work. Okay. No, that's not going to work. Oh, there we go. Don't stop. Like Pastor Chris said, I'm proud of you guys for stopping. I got like 4 or 5 phone calls this weekend. Are we supposed to stop at church? Because the sign out front says not to stop. Not sure. And of course, then you see, you know, if it ever says, you know, keep on going or stay away, you know, that's not me. So I'm not sure about that one. But, you know, don't stop. There are things that God has called us to not stop doing. And how many signs are on a stop sign? 8 things. There's 8 things that I've come up with, and there's many more. But 8 things that we want to talk about that God doesn't want us to stop. But you got to realize there are certain times in our life where we feel like we've earned the right to stop doing something. Last day of school. We feel like we've earned the right to stop thinking. You know, this is one of those days. The last day of school is a day that many kids just look forward to. And they count down from like 90 on. You know, halfway, oh, we're halfway done, 180 school days, we're halfway there. And they count down, and man, the last week is like torture for these guys. They just want school to be over so much. And then, of course, you have teachers and administrators and everybody like that, too. It's just, man, you just can't wait for the last day of school to be done. And you think you've earned the right to stop thinking. Friday evening, and we were sitting outside, my family and I were sitting outside Ruby Tuesdays, waiting to get a table. Someone drove by on Route 30 and he started texting me. As a kid from the church here. And we were texting back and forth on my cell phone. And I was trying to explain something to them, and they just couldn't get it. They just couldn't understand, and I was getting frustrated. Finally, I just texted her. I said, don't you understand what I'm saying? And she texts back and she says, school's over. I don't have to think. I was like, that's a perfect example for my sermon on Sunday. Perfect. Last day of school. Teenagers. You know, kids grow up and become teenagers. I don't know if you can tell from the back. Can you see the girl with her eye rolled? Any of your teenagers do that? Today. I'm sure. You know, I never did. My brother always did. You know, it's such an awkward time. You know, being a kid, and then you got this awkward time, and then you have to be an adult. It's that time called adolescence, and it's always such an awkward time. These kids, adults, these adolescents, feel like they're a lot more adult than they are kid, and they feel like they've earned the right to not listen to their parents or to stop obeying their parents. They just grow up, they feel like they've earned that right. They get to be teenagers. Retirement. You know, you feel like you've earned the right to stop working. Okay, so maybe you have. That's okay, so good. So we enjoy that. How many of you here are retired? How many of you find yourself busier now than when you actually work? I want to go back to work. Yeah, just to get a break. Retirement. We feel like you earned the right to stop working. Boy, yeah. You know, your health. Get to a point where you get to that age where you have to get the blood test done because they got to check all the things, and then you find out that your cholesterol is high. Okay, well, what do I do, Doc? What do I have to do? Well, you can either take medicine or you can change the diet. Where do I sign up for medicine? Of course, then you got the potato chips, and you know, that's just my weakness. So, you know, you start taking Lipitor, you think you've earned the right to stop eating healthy. That's the camp I'm in, you know. I take Lipitor so I can eat, you know, bet you can't eat just one, is what they say. You know, you can't see that. Bet you can't eat just one. Big boy and big girl. Kids grow up. And it's fun to see them grow up. And it's fun to see them accomplish new things as they grow. And they reach new milestones in their life. And they get to the point where they don't have to use training wheels anymore. You know, but those first couple of times are so... they should probably keep the training wheels on for a little while longer. How many of you remember teaching your kids how to use a two-wheel, ride a two-wheeler? And then you grab the seats and you run along behind them. And then you eventually let go and you watch them go or crash or something. I can still remember, I don't remember how long ago it was, but my son, Dylan, and he gave me permission to tell this story. We were teaching him, he's ready to take the training wheels off and ride a two-wheeler. So, cool, okay, man, let's get the helmet on. We live in a neighborhood where there's not a lot of traffic, so we went out on the road, and it's a fairly flat, straight road, and so I said, are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready, Dad. Okay, all right, let's go. So I started running behind him, and he's pedaling, and I just kind of give him a push, and there's a proud moment when you see him going. It's like you accomplished something. You feel proud for the kid, you feel glad for the kid, and that the first 20 yards was really fabulous. And then balance, or the lack thereof, started to take over with Dylan, and he started going sideways. He wasn't sure how to get things straightened out, and it wasn't much longer until he just plowed into a mailbox. He didn't cry much. You get to a point where you think you've earned the right to stop using training wheels. He's a really good bike rider now. So when you get to that point. Graduation. Woohoo! Done with school, or ready to start college, or whatever. You get to that point where you graduate. That's just a great feeling. Although this is a sad one for me. Because graduation, they feel like they've earned the right to stop being involved in church. I can't tell you how many times growing up, I've been a youth pastor here for a lot of years. And I can't tell you how many kids have grown up through our youth ministries, graduated, and then stopped being involved in church. I don't know if it's they finally get to make their own decisions thing, or it's a rebellion against their mom and dad thing, or for what reason. They just stop being involved. They feel like they've earned that right to stop being involved in church. Failure. How many of you have ever failed at something? My son failed riding that bike that day. We've all failed at things. And failure, sometimes people feel like, well, they've earned the right to stop trying. Did you know that, I'm sure you do, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, who he is, basketball guy. He was cut from his high school basketball team when he was a sophomore. Just amazing. And so he was cut. When I was in 8th grade, I made the junior high team. I was the last man off the bench, and if we were winning or losing by 100, they'd get me in. I was in one time, and breakaway, I was on a fast break, and I was dribbling, and I went in for a layup, and boy, things just weren't pretty back then from my basketball skills. My sister got all the basketball skills, and I what I got, but I didn't get them. Layup, and it hit the bottom of the rim, and came back down to hit me. So we tried out in 9th grade, and Coach came to me during tryouts for 9th grade team, and I'm convinced to this day that he saw my ability to be a manager, and he wanted me to be a manager. And you can't tell me otherwise. Michael Jordan was cut, and if he said, well, what's the use of trying? My goodness, he'd have missed out on a tremendous career, basketball career. How about, and my son taught me this, Thomas Edison. Did you know that he failed miserably several times before he succeeded in his inventions? That's history stuff, and I don't know what happened back then, but Thomas Edison failed miserably. The one that I like the best is the weed whacker. Okay, you got a weed whacker, not the electric kind where you plug it in and it goes. Once you got, boom, start. Here's my theory. Pull it once, and if it doesn't start, you don't have to use it. That's kind of the way I'm at. Failure, You feel like you've earned the right to not try. Words of wisdom. See if you can finish these phrases for me. If at first you don't succeed, try again, okay? Practice makes perfect. Okay, we're going to see if you do better on this last week, because these first two services didn't do real well on this one. You got to get back up on the horse.
Right again.
That's right. Yeah, I think I made that one up. I'm not sure. But, you've heard the phrase before. You fall down, well, you're going to get back up on the horse and try again. So I just thought it was just a common phrase, and so maybe not.